On today's episode of Titus and Tate, we are talking about the 2021 NBA draft, which is still going on actually as of this recording. We decided to pull the plug on waiting for Joe Wieskamp.
Just like ABC, we decided the first round was all we really needed to see. Move on.
I wanted to wait for Joe Wieskamp to get drafted so I could get excited.
We should have been a first rounder. That was the problem.
I know.
All of us know this.
And then Sam talking to Vicini on the show, the last show we did earlier in the week, when we were kind of talking about how the second round almost doesn't matter, like because guys can almost purposely go undrafted so they can pick their spots. And I guess like the beginning of the second round matters a little bit. I don't know. I just got soured on the whole deal. Joe Wieskamp did not get drafted. The Big Ten in general was disrespected. The SEC was not.
Pac-12 with 2 lottery picks. Shout out to Pac-12.
Yeah, you're an SEC guy now, so you're obviously very happy with what transpired
tonight. The conference doing so well.
A lot of surprises, I think. I think it's fair to say this was a surprising draft in a lot of ways. As it turns out, Tate and I watched 2 different broadcasts, which we're gonna hash that out too on the show. I think we should start with that.
Yeah, we should.
There's a lot to get to. We're just gonna do our best to sift through all of our stray thoughts and piece them all together and see where this thing goes. But first,
Woody Durham.
All right, as I said at the top, we did not realize this until what pick was it, like 21, 22? That the two of us were watching 2 very different broadcasts. I, first of all, texted you like right as the draft was starting. I said, I'm going to try an experiment. I have not enjoyed the NBA draft as much as I used to when I was little. And the real answer as to why I don't enjoy it as much as I did in like say 1996, which got a lot of play this year because the 25 anniversary and Kobe's death and all that. Yeah. I loved watching the 96 draft. I thought to myself, I don't love watching
class ever, they say.
Best draft class ever, maybe. I don't love watching the draft as much as I did when I was little. The real answer, Tate, is that I'm just older now. And when you get older, things just stop being as cool. But I thought, what if I just stay off Twitter the entire show? Maybe that's it. Maybe like Woj spoils everything and ruins everything because for some reason the guy like can't just like not. Can you not, Woj? Yeah. That's a great. Has anyone asked Woj that question? Woj, can you not?
Well, the worst part about it, I feel like with Woj, is like just dive in head first. Just tell me that the selection is going to be made. Don't give me these walk around terms like Moses Moody is top of the board. For the Golden State Warriors here with this pick. Just say. I'm scooping it. I am actually turning against my company in live time because this is what I got famous for.
I feel like I'm going nuts when I observe how people love Woj, and I'm just like, what does this guy tweets?
Yes.
His entire existence, Tate, is to tweet things we're gonna find out in like 5 minutes anyway. Not just whether it's a draft, whether it's a trade, even the trades. It's like Woj bomb. It's like, you know what the bomb is? Is that if we would have waited 5 minutes, the Hornets themselves would have said we are drafting this guy or we are trading this guy, or the Wizards would have been like, thanks Russ. They would have done like a hashtag thanks Russ. I mean, that's how we would have found out about the trade. We don't need Woj.
You talk about like when you were younger and you went into the NBA draft and it was on TV, it was on ESPN, it wasn't this whole showcase, and a lot of times you wouldn't know that Kwame Brown was going to be the number 1 pick. So when 18-year-old Kwame Brown gets picked, there is this, oh my god,
yeah.
Even Anthony Bennett, when he got picked number 1 in 2013, there was like, oh wow, this is crazy. And 7 hours before the draft, the number 1 pick, the thing that we should be the most hype about, Woj ruins it. And
it's so stupid.
It's not just Woj. He started, Shams is right there next to him. I don't want to leave him out because both of those guys are in the same boat. And like you said, it takes away the curiosity. It takes away.
I don't want to disrespect the business that you're in because you're a scoops guy yourself. You're a scoops guy yourself now, Tate. Yeah. So I don't want to disrespect you per se, but it's a garbage business. It serves no purpose.
I hate it. As a guy in the business,
so stupid. Like, what the hell? Yeah. Anyway, so I decided I'm going to stay off Twitter because for that very reason, I wanted to be surprised. When Scotty Barnes goes number 4, I want to be surprised. I was shocked. When Adam Silver announced his name, I was like, whoa, Sam Vecini told me this is a 4-player draft. Scotty Barnes was not one of those 4 players. What the hell happened?
So is it a 5-player draft or a 3-player draft?
I don't know.
Come on, Sam.
So I told you straight out of the gate, I am not on Twitter. I'm just going to watch the broadcast. I'm prepared tonight when we do the show to just talk about the broadcast. So then I started texting you throughout the broadcast, and I was like, Kendrick Perkins is wild. This is wild. I was like, Mike Schmitz, what a come up. This is cool. I was just
every single person that you were texting me, and like, look, I'm working on my computer, so I'm watching this intermittently, you know, as this is happening. So I assume that I'm just missing these people. You know what I mean? I'm like, where do they have Kendrick Perkins stationed in this thing? Because I have not seen him yet. Again, I'm watching, Kevin Nagandi and Shanae Agumuke and Jalen Rose and Maria Taylor, and this is the ABC broadcast and
Malika Andrews.
Andrews.
Yeah.
Sorry. Pour one out for Maria Taylor. Malika Andrews used to be Maria Taylor in that spot. But in general, as I'm watching this whole thing play out, I am saying to myself, where's Kendrick Perkins and where are the memes coming from? Because I'm on Twitter. I was on Twitter. I'm out on the streets. I'm trying to see what's going on. And I see people talking about Moses Moody and Kendrick Perkins trying to say his name. And again, Titus, I am looking around like, where is Kendrick Perkins? Please give me this. And it was ESPN.
We watched two very different broadcasts. I watched the whole ESPN broadcast, or the first round. Obviously, like I said, it's still going.
We're first round guys.
Yeah. The first round on ESPN. You watched the ABC broadcast.
Yeah.
And hilarious because you missed a pretty good show on ESPN. I got to say, the ESPN broadcast. Kendrick Perkins was on another level tonight. He out of the gate. Mike Schmitz, who again, what a come up for Mike Schmitz. Shout out to my fellow Marina Del Rey guy who I see at the beach all the time. Just letting it rip. We gotta crack a few cold ones, Schmitzy, when you're back on the beach. I'm gonna It's so wild. Every time I see him on the beach, I'm like, that's a
draft guy. Why is he not in Croatia?
Guy? Yeah.
What is he doing here?
What is he doing? Stars, they're just like us, Tate. So Schmitz, like the first pick happens, Cade Cunningham to the Pistons. We all
very boring and very low energy number one pick moment. Honestly, as much as I Cade, I feel like Woj ruined it for me because, like I said, it was a 7-hour grace period, and then when it finally happened, it was like, hey,
but doesn't that make you like Cade more? Doesn't that make you
believe it more? It's nothing about Cade. It just was
okay.
It was a flaccid moment. I wanted it to be an energy filled. We just got the number one pick. Detroit's back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He tried to do that. He put the shades on. He said, "What up, doe?" He tried to really. And Motorcade is a great nickname.
That is a
good nickname. The energy just wasn't there. At least on ABC. So, maybe on the ESPN broadcast.
No, you're right. So the first few picks happened. The first two picks, we'll say. It was the first two picks, and Schmitz puts up his report card on like who Jalen Green is, the boxes he checks, the defensive versatility is unchecked for Jalen Green. It's there. Every box is checked for Cade Cunningham, whatever. And then Reese Davis asked Perk what he thinks, and Perk's like, everything Mike Schmitz just said, I co-sign. And like, that's basically what he was just like, man, Mike, you killed it, man.
Yeah, Mike, what else. Great homework, Mike.
I got nothing else to add. And then the big moment when I knew, like, so right out of the gate, I'm like, are we sure Kendrick Perkins belongs on this set? Like, because Richard Jefferson was on the broadcast too. He's awesome. I love Richard. Richard Jefferson might be my favorite basketball commentator right now.
Yeah, he's doing
working. He's amazing. He's hilarious, and he's perfect for what he does. I was like, Richard Jefferson might have been better in this seat. And then Evan Mobley goes third to the Cavs, and Kendrick Perkins says, shades of, or reminds me of, or could be, basically compares him to Bill Russell, Tate.
Oh my God.
I think the Cleveland Cavaliers got a modern day Bill Russell.
Very much Chauncey Billups vibes. When Chauncey Billups was just like throwing out Hall of Famers. He's like, this guy is like Joe Dumars and Pistol Pete in one. You're like, what?
And when Perk said that, I was back in because I was like, all right, this is going to be so absurd that it's going to be hilarious and fun. And the moment you talked about was, for me, kind of the moment of the draft was Kendrick Perkins trying to pronounce Moses Moody's name. And it wasn't that he flubbed his name, because we've been there, you and I, on this podcast every single time we do a podcast.
I think I just messed up Agumuke. So
it's not that he messed up Moses Moody's name. It's that he at no point pulled the ripcord and was like, I'm out. I'm gonna punt on this. He did not punt. He just kept going. He was like he kept going. He tried it like 20 times. It was the funniest thing. I'm not killing him for getting tongue tied. I'm killing him for like at some point just pivot to like, his name or whatever. He just kept going for it. It was hilarious. Then it was a funny moment, and like, Perk played it off like 10 picks later. He's like, just FYI, I know his name, Moses Moody, and Richard Jefferson killed him for it. And it was pretty funny. But man, Perk he was like, so I don't know if bad's the right word. It's just like so exactly what you'd expect Kendrick Perkins to be on the NBA draft. Yeah. And it was great. I actually enjoyed it. I enjoyed it immensely. So that's what you missed.
Well, on the flip side, ABC, they were very focused in on trying to figure out what traumatic experience happened to
really
to get them, yes, to that spot. And Kevin Nagandi, he did a great job trying to manage. For example, late in the first round, there was a fire that happened, in the Highland household, Bones Highland from VCU, and his grandmother passed away. I mean, it's a very sad, somber moment. But again, this was a story of perseverance. But Jaylen and Shanae, they are the ones being told these stories, right? So like, it's basically Nagandi is telling this like absolute like Tom Rinaldi style, very narrative, lead you down like this path of all that they did, all that they've come through, all of this stuff. And then Jaylen and Shanae, I mean, God bless them. I mean, they were there to just kind of be the sounding board and just say like, I mean, that is a very, tough experience. I mean, what great courage from that kid to be able to do that. And of course that is a part of the whole conversation when you do the draft, but it did seem at times, as we've seen before, it happened with the draft a little bit, with all the dads being there and talking about, the perseverance of their players.
Were they bringing it up to the players like in front of like they used to do in the
there was some of that.
Oh my God, dude, that's like, all jokes aside, like that is so messed up to like hey, this is the biggest moment of your life, this is the happiest you've ever been. Remember that one thing that happened back before this moment that was really bad? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, like, exactly. What? I was going to say, at least at some level, you do, it does paint, right, the portrait of these players in some capacity, because it says, wow, they have this mental fortitude to come and get.
They're human beings. I didn't realize they were human beings until you told me that they had
like,
a
my
relative.
Goodness, like right now.
Oh my God.
And you mentioned Kendrick Perkins being on brand. Jalen Rose, as we always joke about, Jalen Rose, everything will come back to Jalen. And we love Jalen for that. The best part of this night is, they show the Montverde team, right? The high school team. And it's, Cade Cunningham, Moses Moody, Scotty Barnes, Dayron Sharp, all four of those guys on the same high school team. They're all first round picks. Wow. And then it goes to Jalen. Jalen's like, see, my high school team, we also have NBA players. And, tells that whole story. The Pistons have the number one pick. He goes crazy about the Pistons having the number one pick. He also brings up the fact that, he invented the name Jaylen. There was a Jalen Suggs in the top 5. There was a Jalen Green. There was a Jaylen Johnson. Yep. His father, Jimmy Walker, was the J part of Jalen, was the number one pick back in the day for the Detroit Pistons. So Jalen wanted Jalen Green to be the number one pick. So it would be this whole, full circle moment of Jalen's. Every Jalen they got on stage, the first question was about how they had to pay homage to Jalen Rose.
Oh my God, dude.
It was awesome. It was honestly though, like the broadcast was ridiculous at some parts, like I said, about the emotional roller coaster way to go on, but Jalen Rose was having a lot of fun. And
dude, I wrote down in my notes that I enjoyed that the ESPN broadcast, they finally pivoted away from all the traumatic stuff. And I was like, wow. Thank God.
No, that was on ABC.
Because they left it to ABC. In fact, the Terrence Clark gesture, which I thought was amazing and a great idea and wonderfully executed. And
how happy are we that Coach Cal wasn't there? By the way, I was so happy. I mean, not I missed them in the green room, but like for that moment in particular, I was happy that it was the family.
That was all about the family. That moment was so powerful. And as I was watching like the ESPN broadcast, I thought, oh, they must have maybe there was a decision that in light of Terrence Clark's passing, they decided let's not make the rest of the broadcast dramatic, so as to overshadow.
No, that was primetime ABC.
That was so you're telling me ABC.
This is the first time that they were on ABC, and Malika gets them, the first time around, and she's like, "How does it feel?" Dude, they're like, "It feels amazing."
The other thing I want to point.
The next question.
The other thing I want to point out about the ESPN broadcast was the fake laughing between Perkins, Jay Billis and Reese Davis was at an unprecedented level. I mean, we see it a lot when Reese and Jay Billis are chopping it up on game day. Like those, you get those two in the same room. Reese will laugh at anything Jay Billis says. Like
and Jay loves hanging out with Reese
because Jay loves it, and he gets gassed up, and then it's just like a snowball that can't be stopped. You throw in Kendrick Perkins, and these dudes were not even telling jokes, Tate. They were just like straight up like, okay, Billis, who do you think the Warriors are going to take at number 7 here? And Billis is like, well, I know one guy I wouldn't take. And then Perkins is like, I'm like, was that even a joke? Like, what are we doing? Dude, it sounded like I was listening to a Ringer podcast with all the fake laughing. It was insane. Dude.
That was something I learned very early on, that's how you make a podcast. You just fake laugh.
I really did. That's like, I look at Mike Schmitz, like Mike Schmitz is like looking left and right. He's like, am I supposed to laugh like with you guys? Like, can I talk about the
Perkins like, pull that board back up. Let me see what other notes you got. Share your notes. Man, I'm sad I missed that, but I'm also, I think it worked out pretty well because, like you said, we had 2 very separate experiences. Yeah, we watched the draft, and we also learned. I learned a lot about these players. I will. Did
ABC have any college coach appearances?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
That's where they were interviewed.
You didn't see the college coaches?
No, I mean, I saw like the coaches, like I meant like, did they interview any of them? Did we get a Bruce Pearl side of the road in a ditch saying character counts moment on ABC?
We got like cameos basically, which the whole broadcast was this very strange thing where like the 11th pick would be made right for the Hornets, and then like all of a sudden on the side it'd be like Don Cheadle being like, shout out to the NBA draft, guys that are getting in the league, can't wait to watch you play. It was like it was completely out of nowhere, and like the 15th pick happens, like Taraji P. Henson is here to wish all these guys success in their next career or whatever, and it was like stars, but then randomly, like when Franz Wagner gets selected, Mo Wagner pops up, and Mo's like, hey, I'm Mo, and I'm the fill of the program, and I'm happy for my brother. And then Scott.
Oh, did he really? That's why you texted me Mo, because you texted me, you just said Mo ! And I was like,
I think this is when we figured out that you and I were watching something different, because I texted you about Mo Wagner, you're like, what? And
what are you talking about?
Yeah, what are you saying? Scott Drew also, when Davion gets picked number 9 to the Sacramento Kings, he pops up and gives like a nice little, we're the national champions. I'm so proud.
Really?
Yeah. So Scott,
wow. Well, on
was the biggest star
on ESPN, there was zero propaganda.
What were they doing? They were just showing Kendrick Perkins.
They were cutting to Bobby Marks and Woj and Rachel Nichols and Richard Jefferson, and they would talk. But yeah, I actually liked it because I was like, this is great. Like, I don't have Bruce Pearl hijacking my NBA draft to like tell me character counts. I don't have John Calipari.
Yes.
Telling me.
Calipari said this was the first draft he hasn't been to ever. I was like, I don't. Can we check the facts on that? What do you mean ever? Like, he was like, when things are out of my control, I would literally kill someone to be in Brooklyn tonight. He also called it graduation day, which I think is so funny that Coach Cal, like all these coaches talk about graduation rates, and then Coach Cal's like, yeah, mine is like 75%.
Oh man. Do you want to talk about the actual draft?
Yeah.
Or is there anything else on the difference of, I guess, like what any other notes on the broadcast you want to say? I guess the only other thing I would say is I have noticed in the last few years especially, but like this year I finally like decided to write it down and say something about it, that the broadcast of the draft, guys are so scared to clown picks. Like when Joshua Primo goes number 12 to the Spurs, that should have just been like, what are they doing? Like the way Bill did when he did the draft in, what was it, 2013? He's just like, what? Like they need someone on set to do that. They need someone to do it, because I think what's happened is that there are a few things that happened. Number one, the old takes exposed guy has like ruined everybody. So like where everyone's like scared to have a take and just swing for the fences.
Do you have your worst cold take that's been exposed? Because I know mine off the top of the head. I tweeted the night that Robert Quinn went before JJ Watt in the NFL draft. I think it was like 2012, 2013, that, basically this is a great decision, and taking JJ Watt would have been, the dumbest thing they could have done.
I don't know. I guess the thing I would get clowned for, especially draft.
What's the draft?
would be probably like not thinking that Marvin Bagley was like a horrible basketball player.
Well, he's not.
I still don't think he is, but he's like, I don't know. I never said take him over Luka because we've been over this 1,000 times, but like I kind of have to wear that because I was like, Bagley was awesome at Duke, and I think he's going to translate just fine.
He was the ACC Player of the Year, and there are plenty of guys that Marvin Bagley to me is like a Brandon Wright, where it's like if he was in the right situation with the right team that got the playing time and actually believed in him, I would buy it. But I don't think he's in that situation.
No, I mean he'll never be there's never a scenario where he's better than Luka, obvioly, but
of course, or Trey, or DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah,
almost a day.
Is that the best draft ever? Do you think 20?
Oh no, let's say it now.
So I think it's that. I think you're scared to have not even the one guy with the Twitter account. It's just like anybody.
Nobody wants to look stupid in the future.
Nobody wants to look stupid. No one wants it shoved back in your face that you thought that this guy was going to be a bum, and now look at him. So like everyone's just like, interesting pick, good. I will see. We'll see. But then also, Tate, I think like what we're seeing in the NBA, and we talked to Vicini about this a little bit, is that guys who are taken in later rounds, guys who go undrafted, like the idea of a top 50, like the lottery is where you get the guys that are going to contribute, and then the rest of it's just like a formality is long gone. That era is long. I don't know how long it's been gone, but I mean, like that was how we grew up watching the draft. Was like, you could really turn off at like pick 20 because like whoever's picked after that is probably not even getting minutes, much less like whether they're going to have an impact. And
I'm going to say 2014 was the last year because I remember when PJ Harrison and Shabazz Napier got traded for each other, and LeBron like asked if he could take Shabazz Napier. You know what I mean? It kind of felt like this is inconsequential. There's no way that PJ or Shabazz would ever play.
Yeah, this doesn't matter.
But
I think now you're seeing like guys who are drafted 51st could contribute to a championship team. So you're scared to be the guy who, clowns on. Pat Connaughton was first round, right? I think he was first round.
Yeah,
early second round. But use Pat Connaughton as an example. Say he goes wherever, and
you're like Draymond, who like lists everyone that's picked before him every time he does an interview.
Yeah, you're scared.
You don't want to be that team that's like, I took this guy over Draymond.
Yeah, and you don't want to be the guy sitting at the desk who's like, Pat Connaughton gets drafted wherever he is, and you're like, what? That's a waste of a pick. And then he wins a title with the Bucks, and then you get that thrown back in your face. You know what I mean? So I feel like everyone's just kind of like everyone's scared to just be like, what the hell are they doing? This was a horrible pick, and we need more of that. We need more of that, I think.
No, you're right.
I'll be happy to be that guy because like I'll just do it for any guy that didn't play college basketball.
Exactly.
It's like, who is this?
Yeah, when Jalen Green,
Josh Giddey is 6. What are we doing?
Are you kidding me? Kaminga? Fall out of your chair. Kaminga?
That's what Billis is supposed to be doing, and he doesn't do it. Billis, I need you
Well, it's tough for Jalen, and like every single player that went up there, like Chiney's basically like, I work out with you in Los Angeles. So like Jalen Suggs sits down, and Chiney's like, this guy is literally the first in the gym for our workouts and the last guy in the gym, and he never stops smiling. You know what I mean? So I'm sitting there and I'm like, this is great intel on Jalen Suggs. I'm already 100% in because I've watched him thrive in college basketball, but now I'm hearing about his workouts and, this is great insight. But then you're also, like you're saying, Jalen and Janae, like there was no pick where they were like, this was a bad pick. Every single guy, they're like, I see upside. I see potential here. This guy could turn into the next Magic Johnson. And you're like, Scotty Barnes is the next Magic Johnson. Oh man.
So let's talk about the actual draft, I suppose, instead of the broadcast. Some themes that stood out to me. Number one, Barclays Center crowd was horrible. Put it back in Madison Square Garden. They got no juice whatsoever.
Yeah, whoever the DJ was, by the way, I didn't know his name. He did not do a good job either. Not to throw shots at the Brooklyn Nets, but this was
no disrespect.
No disrespect.
No disrespect to the DJ, but he does a horrible job.
We needed better. We needed better. We needed more energy, I guess. And even when the Nets made their pick, they had 2 picks late in the first round. They get one of those for the Landry Shamet trade. They get the Suns pick and they take Day'Ron Sharpe. But as those picks are happening, they're trying to get the crowd licks. They're like, "This is our home pick." And like it was very funny because like there was like basically hype beast fans that are getting excited for the Nets, and then there's poor Spike Lee down there, the other representative of New York, who came to the draft trying to get excited, and every single pick the Knicks are like, yeah, we're trading that guy. It's like Spike Lee's like fist pounding, and then like 10 seconds later, Adam Silver's like, and the Knicks are going to trade
Can we talk about that? Because I wrote that down as something I wanted, a big picture theme I wanted to talk about was all the trades going on and how annoying it is. I think I saw KOC earlier today said something about this, was flying this flag about like how ridiculous it is that the NBA does not finalize these trades before they happen, and how confusing it becomes as a viewer. Where I mean, the first example, number 10, Zaire Williams he's being picked by New Orleans technically, but he's going to Memphis.
Yeah.
And I know that, Tate, that trade was announced, how many days ago? 2-3 days ago? Like this is something that I've known going into the draft, that the number 10 pick is going to the Memphis Grizzlies. And yet I see the Pelicans logo up there.
And you're like, wow, Zion and Zaire?
Yeah, and I see him with the Pelicans hat, and as I tell myself, not the Pelicans, this is not the Pelicans, this is the Grizzlies, this is the Grizzlies. And I immediately just, that goes in one ear out the other, and I'm like, Zion Zaire, that's gonna be interesting in New Orleans. And it's frustrating because then like later in the first round, I mean, there was a run there where it's like it felt like every single pick was traded. Yeah, it was like from basically after the lottery, it was like every single pick that came up, it felt like it was traded, and I couldn't make sense of anything. It was impossible to make sense of who was where and what. At one point, Kendrick, when Day'Ron Sharpe got drafted, he was technically drafted by the Suns. Kendrick Perkins' entire analysis.
I would love him on the Suns, by the way. I wish he was going to the Suns.
Well, so would Kendrick Perkins, because his entire analysis was how much this will help, because we saw the Suns needed more big men help when Ayton would get in foul trouble in the finals. They didn't really have anybody to turn to. Maybe Day'Ron Sharpe could fill that piece. I'm excited to see what Monty Williams can do with him. And then Reese Davis was like, yeah, okay, Perk. So anyway, the Nets with the great pick there.
Bring him back. I think the perfect example of why it's a problem was the 22nd pick, which is, a part of the Russell Westbrook trade. So the Lakers have this pick, but they just traded it to the Wizards. And then when they make the pick for Isaiah Jackson out of Kentucky, and Isaiah Jackson is going up there, they give you the little cryon that says, he played with LaMelo Ball, for 5 games at Spire Academy. And then Adam Silver literally goes up and to the podium and says, this is going via the Wizards to the Pacers. And then he just starts laughing. Like, he smiles for a second because he's like, that's the stupidest thing I have ever said, that the Lakers have made a selection on behalf of the Wizards, who are now trading that selection to the Pacers. And
so why do they do this? Because the free agency window hasn't opened yet. And when it does, that's when all the trades become final. That's the idea.
Yes. And I think I will say this is my David Stern dark web belief, is that it is a dark web way of having loyalty from other fan bases, because Kobe Bryant gets like Charlotte Hornets carryover. You know what I mean? Because there are kids that just have seen Kobe on his draft day pictures wear Hornets stuff, and they're like, "Dang, that's swag. I like the Hornets now." You know what I mean? Whenever I think about this, I think of Antoine Jameson and Vince Carter.
With
the hats, and it's like, but you have the picture where Antoine has the Raptors and Vince has the Warriors, and I think it's a brand play at the end of the day for the NBA to have more guys attached to more teams so they have more fans.
That's you might be onto something there. I think you might.
That's my dark web David Thurn thought.
But it is very frustrating. It's so stupid. And
I'm not saying it's not stupid, but it's
why you can't just figure it out, Adam. That's what I would say. Like, why are we waiting for these trades to be finalized? It's very and if we're waiting for them to be finalized and official, Tate, why what if someone pulls an okie doke and just doesn't do the trade?
That's oh, by the way, Joe Wieskamp just got selected by the San Antonio Spurs.
Let's go. They saved Josh Primo and Joe Wieskamp.
I just wanted to be on the air. 41st pick. What a steal.
Dude.
Are you kidding me?
Let me pull up. I got to get an update here. Oh, wow. Nice little Jason Preston, 33.
Yeah.
Robinson Earl, 32. I missed all these. Miles McBride, 36. I like him. Herb Jones, 35. Yeah. What if an okie doke happens and you say, when the window opens, we'll definitely do the trade. I promise. And then you're like,
wink, wink.
Got you, bitch. I'm not doing the trade.
I would love if the Suns literally just said, no, you can keep
we're just gonna keep
it. We're going to keep Day'Ron Sharpe. We heard Kendrick Perkins' analysis of what Day'Ron will bring to the playoffs.
That changes everything. So I wrote down big picture themes. The trades are annoying. Barclays Center sucks. And I would say a lot of surprises. Would you agree with that? That it felt like Scotty, as I said, for me, I was off Twitter, so I don't know if this was telegraphed to the world that it was coming. But when Adam Silver said Scotty Barnes to the Raptors, I was stunned. I could not believe it. Not that Scotty Barnes isn't good, but Jalen Suggs to me is a much better basketball player and would have been the better pick. And especially with like the stars of the line for Scotty Barnes being a Florida State guy.
Yeah.
To just go back to stay in Florida and go to Orlando. It all just made sense to me. And that whole plan got blew up, and I was shocked. And then the surprises kept coming. I mean, like
the hits kept coming.
Josh Giddey at 6, I would say, was a little bit of a surprise to me. Not because I don't like Josh Giddey. I haven't watched a second of Josh Giddey play basketball, but I don't remember anyone expecting Josh Giddey to go 6 to Oklahoma City. Zaire Williams, I felt was slightly surprising to Memphis. He ended up in Memphis?
Yeah,
Memphis.
Number 10.
Number 10. Joshua Primo from Alabama was the big one where I was like, what?
Youngest player in the draft. Yeah.
Nate Oates got a text from one of his buddies that said, "Congrats, coach." And then he said, "About what?" And he said, "About Josh going number 12." And Nate Oates, I'm pretty sure, responded, "Who's Josh?" I don't think Nate Oates.
I mean, seriously.
And then the big surprise, the Charlotte Hornets and the Indiana Pacers both passed on Corey Kispert. So,
that was the biggest shocker.
The lottery was full of a ton of surprises.
It turns out both teams wanted Franz Wagner. They're upset he was off the board.
Were you as surprised with some of those as I was?
Yeah. When I saw Scotty Barnes go, I immediately thought to myself, because I think Toronto is the first actual team making a pick in the draft. And I mean that when they made the selection, it was in reference to the team that they have. So if you take Jaylen Suggs, right, there is a domino effect that then gets back to your locker room. Fred VanVleet's looking around. He's like, yeah. And I just had to supplant Kyle Lowry, and now you bring in another future guard who's going to try to supplant me. You get like an Aaron Rodgers type situation there. Mm-hmm. So when they drafted Scotty Barnes, I was thinking that. I was like, that makes sense. But then also it makes sense for a Ben Simmons trade. You know, that is the team to me that always kind of tickles my fancy for both parties, right? Because Masai and Morey, I feel like they're in the same like class of GMs in the NBA where they're very presidents. They're very well known, right? They make these moves that are supposed to be very tactical. So they're not going to try to fleece one another. They're kind of like it's a mutual respect. And then Ben for Scotty Barnes, you get that wing defender. Maybe you get Lowry in there too. So you get like a point guard and a wing defender. That makes one Ben Simmons. And then the Raptors get Ben. Ben can thrive in Toronto. It's kind of a, international, culture is in Toronto. So that was what I immediately thought. I was like, oh, we're getting a Ben Simmons trade tonight. And I'm not saying it's not over with, but that was the red flag for me with the Raptors. And then when we got to 7, when we got to the Warriors, I thought this was also, we know we have a team, so we're making a pick for someone to help this team. And that was Kuminga. I love Kuminga. I love what the Warriors did.
You're a big G League Ignite fan. I do know that about you. So.
Yeah, I did watch all their games.
So you might be biased, honestly. Like I know you love Kuminga, but that might just be your G League.
I just love the fit with the Warriors. Like there were 3 teams to me that won the draft, and I'll go through them. The Magic won the draft, in my opinion, because Jaylen Suggs is if he's not the number 1 pick, he's a top 3 pick in my opinion. But you get him at 5, that's amazing. You get Franz Wagner, who played at age 16. In the Urban League, I mean, and also plays college basketball. So he's done both sides of the equation. I love that.
That's true. Yeah, say that again. He was a professional before he got to Michigan and was still eligible to play at Michigan. Yes, I'm glad you said that.
Money to play in Germany, and then he went to go play at Michigan,
and that was fine by everybody. Yes,
for money. And so those 2 picks, I was all in about. The Warriors, like I said. I really like what they did. I think Moses Moody is very underrated. I thought he was going to be a top 10 pick. I was a little shocked that he fell, a proven scorer. And, I love anyone named Moses, including your dog. And, of course, Moses Malone. Fo. Yeah, love you, Moses. And then the other team is maybe a bit biased, but to get Book Night at 11, 10 years after you drafted Kemba Walker, and I think Book Night has a lot of upside, a lot of athletic versatility. And then to still get the guy we all wanted Kai to come home. I know he's not from Charlotte, but we wanted him to come home to play for the Charlotte Hornets, to be in screen role with LaMelo Ball. So those are the 3 teams that really stood out to me on draft night. I think they all made great picks given where they were. I think that funny enough, the Warriors ended up drafting the players that I thought the Magic were going to take. And then the Magic just kind of had the best night possible. I cannot believe that the Magic got 2 players that I think can actually contribute. I feel a little bit bad for Cole Anthony, but I saw Jaylen Suggs say he and Cole were already texting. Good move by Cole Anthony. He's like, I got to make friends with the guy that's coming in.
I don't think it matters anymore, though. Like
it must not. It must not.
It doesn't. I don't think it matters.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think that's the way the NBA works now. It's just like you can have 5 point guards if they're all good and they can guard, and if you can figure out a way to, if one of them is 6'9", like if one of them, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I do. But
if as long as you don't have defensive liabilities, if like they work well together, just throw 5 guys out there that want the ball. I don't know. Like who the hell knows?
Yeah.
Like, who the hell knows is my point.
Well, I'm just going to say this. Kuminga and Moody, I think, can both play and contribute on the Warriors, or they can be assets to be traded. The Magic have 2 guys that can contribute immediately, and same with the Hornets. I mean, the Hornets, we got a lot better, Titus, so I'm very excited about that.
Well, congratulations to you. The Oklahoma City Josh Giddey. I'm excited to see what Josh Giddey can do. I should probably look this guy up.
I wouldn't even watch the Thunder, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like unless you just want. I mean, I guess if you're like a processor, you want to watch them, and it's fun, and like you can watch Tony Bradley and some of these guys that you forgot about. Moses Wright from UCLA kind of got reinvigorated in OKC, but their whole draft is just kind of like. We're basically stashing these guys. That's how it feels. When OKC makes a pick, it's like, I don't care. And now they have 17 first-round picks. Did you know this? From 2022 to 2027, they have 7.
Why is it? Here's an idea. Why don't you just like take OKC out of the NBA for a few years and make them play the G League Ignite and the overtime league / team just over and over?
Just dominate the G League.
Yeah. They just play
the super team of the G League.
G League. I think G League Ignite. So G League Ignite has 2 top 7 guys, right? Kuminga was 7, and Jaylen Green is 2nd. I think if you're an Ignite fan, and you certainly are, Tate, so I'm gonna have to ask you this.
Let's go.
Do you have questions about how the Ignite go 8-7 in the G League this year? Are you putting Brian Shaw in the hot seat? Because if this is a college basketball team and you have 2 top 7 picks, and you finish barely over 500, you're getting killed for that.
One, I'm glad we're over 500. You know what I mean? I think that's a win. When you really look at how they were set up and designed to play. I mean, shout out to Jared Jack for trying to make that work. I think the most fascinating part of this draft when we talk about our college basketball bias, of course, I have my Ignite bias, so I'll try to throw that out of the way. But I think Jaylen Green, at least from what I've heard from GMs, Jaylen Green believed he was the number 1 pick. And not only did he believe that, there were ultimately other top guys that when they were asked who the number 1 pick was, they said it was Jaylen Green. So the fact that Troy Weaver had this information, had other players say Jaylen Green should be the number 1 pick, and he still went with Cade Cunningham, that was a major W for college basketball. Because
I think so too.
That basically says like it doesn't matter that we have a formula here. Cade is the number 1 pick by all these things that we have to check, and he also does believe he's the number 1 pick. So boom, we can do it.
I am. It dawned on me as I saw Jaylen Green walk up onto the stage as he was drafted 2nd. Number 1, he looks like my barber / Kyle's barber. It's the same guy. The guy that Kyle hooked me up with that like butchered my hair the last time I went to him. Nice guy, fun environment to get a haircut. Did not give me the haircut I wanted when I asked him.
That's always the best. That was like when you go into like a Super Clips or whatever. You're just like, I hope this works out. You're like, Godspeed. God. I have no say on this.
So he looks like him, but Jaylen Green. Maybe it's for that reason. But I as he was walking on the stage, I was like, I just said to myself, no, I could do without. And I thought I didn't watch any of this guy in the G League. Right? He's basically said if he went to college, he is igniting. Maybe that's why it's called G League Ignite. He is igniting the war on college basketball. He's
a part of it.
He's part of it, right? So I thought to myself, he's now going to the Rockets, who are the worst team in the NBA this year. What if I just simply do not watch Jaylen Green play basketball his entire career? I'm not going to boycott it, Tate, but I'm curious how long I can go. I'm not going to like go out of my way. I'm going to continue to watch. Like I'm going to throw NBA games on. If it's something that interests me, I'll watch it. And I wonder how long until I'm like forced to watch a Jaylen Green game because he's so good, or because the Rockets are finally winning, or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I would love to like not watch the game. Like he retires and he's like a 3-time All-Star ish, but he's never really like that good. And I'm just like, I literally never watched a second of this guy play basketball. I'm going to try it. It's an experiment. I'm going to see if it works.
I'm a little bit worried that we get in a 28. We brought up 2018. I'm worried that we get in that position again where Cade goes to Detroit. And let's just be quite honest about it. Like Cade is not going to be the leading scorer of the Pistons. Like that's Jeremy Grant. Cade is going to be more of a facilitator, role player, kind of like Ayton was. as he already has guys that are there that are already all-stars. But then the number 2 and the number 3 guys, Mobley, I laugh at the Bill Russell comparison, but I really like Mobley. And I think
I do too.
Mobley's in Cleveland and he's balling out, and we're all kind of like, man, Evan Mobley's in a really good spot. And then Jaylen Green, if he went to college, would have been the number 1 pick. I will say that. I think if Jaylen Green had gone to college,
you're such an Ignite guy. Who's paying you? What is going on
I'm
here?
a college basketball guy because
show me the receipts. Who's paying? Who are you on the payroll for the Ignite? What's going on here?
I'm telling you right now, Jared Jack. First off, thank you for that Venmo. I really appreciate it. But if Jaylen Green had gone to even like Memphis, I think he was originally going to Memphis, he would have been the number 1 pick, and Penny would have been there. And I really think that was the reason he wasn't the number 1 pick, because we have these kind of, practices in place, and we want to reward certain decisions. And this is still an NBA that has, traditional beliefs at some level. So they wanted to reward the college. Well,
how about this? I know nothing, again, and I can't reiterate enough. I know very little about Jaylen Green. So I'm not saying he's a bad guy, but I think a lot that goes into having a steadfast belief in Cade Cunningham is that he's a high character guy, that he, as a reminder, folks, never forget this, that Oklahoma State was facing sanctions. Tate. They were, at the time that Cade Cunningham arrives on campus, we were all under the impression that Oklahoma State was not going to be eligible for the NCAA tournament. And this man said, I committed to Oklahoma State. I'm going to stay at Oklahoma State. I want to play with the team I committed to. And he stuck through it. He carried the team on his back in so many ways. It was like the guy, every time he got in front of a microphone, he always said the right things. He always
says the right things. You know what I'm saying?
And he's a good dude. And I wonder how much
number 1 pick. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
He was like the number 1 pick. I think Lombardi said this about NFL coaches. They are not, selected. They are elected. You know what I mean? Like you are basically a politician to be the number 1 pick. You have to fit a certain mold 9 times out of 10. Now, when you're Kwame Brown and you're this raw talent and Michael Jordan says, I want him, it's a different conversation. But in this instance, Cade Cunningham, he was elected as the number 1 pick against Jaylen Green. Because like you said, when we did when we looked at the resumes and we added it all up, we said, okay, that's the number 1 pick. That's the guy.
Yeah, and I
agree with it. It makes sense.
I agree with it too. Yeah, I'm excited for Cade.
But we're talking about natural talent. It could be a conversation.
It's a conversation.
Evan Mobley would have been my number 1 pick. I would just say.
I think Evan Mobley, in terms of physical tools and what I guess how do we frame it? How do you say it? Like the highest ceiling, I guess, would be one way of doing it. Like if Evan Mobley can become what I think he can become, he's going to be absolutely disgusting. He's going to be Bill Russell paired with Chris Bosh, with a little Giannis Antetokounmpo, and a splash of LeBron James.
Yeah. I mean, literally,
with a little Kevin Durant as well.
Can I ask your thoughts on this? Because this was something that happened on the ABC broadcast quite a bit. They would bring the player over, and then they would ask them the player comp, right? So they brought Scotty Barnes over, and Scotty Barnes he seems like a great kid. He's having, he's like, I'm so happy to be here. I'm going to Toronto. I'm so excited. And they're like, Scotty, player comp for you, Scottie Pippen. And in his face, like you can tell he's just like, I'm sure every kid, when you ask them who they want to be at this point, they probably say Michael Jordan or LeBron James.
Yeah.
That's what they all think they are. So when you say Scottie Pippen, he just kind of gave this like, hell no. And then he like tried to walk it back. And he's like, I mean, I love his game. He's like a great defender. He can also score.
You know how absurd that is? You're like, it's
I just find
like us, the viewer,
reaction. I die laughing every time I do that.
If you said Scotty Barnes is the next Scottie Pippen, the viewer hears that and says that's preposterous. Yes. Scotty Barnes hears that and says that's preposterous, and we think it's preposterous for 2 polar opposite reasons.
Yes. Scotty Barnes is like, if I'm Scotty, he's kind of. You remember when Giannis? There was that quote that came out. He was like, if I'm Nick Batum, I'm going back to Greece. You know what I mean? that is how Scotty Barnes took being called Scottie Pippen, who is one of the top 50, greatest all time NBA players. Like, it is wild.
I love the draft. I love the draft so much. It's so good. What else happened that we need to talk about?
I wanted to ask you about the MLB thing. So we had a lot of baseball players, guys that were. Did you see this on the ESPN broadcast?
Did I see that? Oh
no. So basically, we had 3 first-round picks that all grew up wanting to play baseball.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Anthony Rizzo getting traded to the Yankees. I was like, Tate, I really don't want to talk about this. I'm heartbroken. Yeah, I saw it.
Max Scherzer also got traded.
Yeah, he got traded to the Dodgers, right?
Man, what a weird day.
I thought that's what you were talking about.
No. I'm talking about the fact that if you were an MLB exec, James Bouknight, he basically says, baseball is my first love. I grew up wanting to play baseball. I played baseball all the way to the 10th grade, didn't even pick up a basketball, but the game was too slow for me. So he started playing basketball. And you see that and you're like, what? And he was like a switch hitter. He's like, I played catcher, I played shortstop, I played right field, I played center field. You're like, man, James Bouknight seems like he'd be a great baseball player. That's insane. So now he doesn't want to do this. And then they get to your guy for the Pacers, Chris Duarte from Oregon, of course. And he's from the Dominican Republic. He's like, my whole family thought I was going to play baseball. All I wanted to do was to be this MLB baseball star. But then I came to the States and, I just picked up basketball. So like, if you're watching the MLB, you're like, wait a second. We had 2 lottery level talents that could have played in our league, but both of them were like, the game was my first love, but it was boring. And then they get to Keon Johnson, who Jalen Rose celebrated as going to the Detroit Pistons, even though he's going to the Clippers, which I still don't understand how that all happened. But Keon Johnson, they asked him too. They're like, what was your childhood like, basically? And he's like, man, I love baseball. He's like, I thought I was going to be an MLB superstar, but here I am. And if I'm an MLB exec, I'm like, can we get on the ground floor with these kids and just keep them in baseball? Because we could have had 3 stars here come play in the MLB.
What is this? I'm trying to think of how this is Michael Jordan's fault.
I don't know. Well, I mean, I'll say this as someone, my first sport was baseball. I think baseball is the greatest first sport to learn because of hand-eye coordination.
You also were going to go to you also were going to be an MLB player, but you chose podcasting instead.
Thank you for saying that for me. But
you were in the Dodgers farm system when you were delivering posters, and you were asked.
18-0, the Padres, my team, coached by my dad, only undefeated team in our league as a kid. So shout out to those times. But in general, the fact that baseball got such a bad rap, I thought it was like an agenda from the NBA. I'm like, why are they telling these kids to say that they quit baseball because it was?
That's boring? A great point.
Because I did not like that.
Yeah, that's a great point. Also, I need some fact checkers to tell me if these guys were actually good at baseball. Because I got Okie doke.
Bouknight was good. You know how you can just see someone like when they show like the pictures of them on the field.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the way he was throwing, I was like, oh, Bouknight's good.
They said Duarte could touch on the ESPN broadcast. They did mention that. They said he could touch 90 with this fastball, and I was like, I mean, that's better than I could do, but like, are we that's not. You make it sound like he was going to be a first-round pick in baseball, and gave.
Well, it's like, is he a pitcher? Because if he's a pitcher, he's not going anywhere. But if he's like an outfielder and he can go throw 90, now I'm interested. Now
you get 2 beers in me and a pretty girl standing next to me, and I go to a minor league baseball game. I'm touching at least 73.
I was going to say I'm throwing above 70, and in worst case scenario, I'm 69, and then I'd say it's for brand.
Yeah, at least. But the girl who won the spelling bee this year. Ruined these things. I mean, not ruin. I say that, I don't know. It's the opposite of ruin. Where I was watching the spelling bee, and every time she'd come up, they'd be like, her career aspirations are like rocket scientist or WNBA player, and I was like, okay, all right. Or no, she said she wanted to be a not even WNBA player. She said she wanted to like coach in the NBA or something. And I was like, all right, okay, cool. That's and then they were like, yeah, that's right. Whoever was calling I think it might have been Kevin Nagandi actually. And then whoever's calling the thing with Kevin Nagandi is like, that's right, Kevin. She is a very good basketball player. She scored however many points on her 8th grade team. And I'm just rolling my eyes. I'm like, she's not a good basketball player. She's just not compared to these nerds she's going up against. She probably like made her B team and sits the bench and, like, get this out of my face. Come to find out, she's amazing.
Yeah.
She's an amazing basketball
like
player.
15 basketballs at a time.
So my point is I don't want to hear about your other talent unless it's on that level. You know what I mean? I don't want to hear about how you could have done X, Y, Z unless you're as good as she was. I forget her name. Was it Zalia something?
Yeah.
Zalia Avant-Garde, I think.
I know her last name. Yeah.
Yeah, she was awesome. So I don't want to hear about these baseball guys unless they legitimately had a chance to go pro, which I
think Bouknight was the only one. I really do. Like the way that he described his story too, he was like, I really could have done this. And I also might be biased because again, I'm a Hornets fan. So
well, how does it make you feel that they drafted him then? Because it's like
amazing.
He's gonna pull a Jordan. He's gonna.
No, I hate specialized players. Like, if Jaylen Suggs, I think the reason I love him so much is because like I know that he played football and he has like he's an athlete, right? I want someone that's not like fixated on this one thing. They can branch out unless they're like Kobe Bryant fixated, then I'm like, okay, you can specialize over here because this is obviously where you're going to master your craft and everything. But I like athletes. So James Bouknight playing baseball. It's great for the softball games.
You're not worried that he's gonna talk to Jordan and Jordan's gonna be like, I was at my happiest. Everyone clowns me for hitting 220 or whatever it was in AA, but that was when I was at my happiest. And then James is like, maybe I should do the same.
Yeah. Can I quickly you bring up a great point. Simone Biles, this is a tangent, but I saw all the stuff, people were like, Michael Jordan would never do this. Michael Jordan would never do this. Michael Jordan quit basketball and went and played another sport after his father died because of his mental health. You know what I mean? So like, you want to talk about like someone going through it and trying to figure out what's going. I mean, Mike, like that is literally the definition of it. And obviously, we didn't deal with it and say that he was going through, a traumatic experience at the time. We just all were like, what? Why is he playing baseball? What an idiot! You know what I mean? But that happened.
Michael Jordan would never when he.
Definitely did.
Kind of definitely did.
Definitely did.
What else is there? I mean, I guess we could figure out what is there anything else that happened? Let me refresh the second round. Make sure we're not.
Well, should we talk about like Corey Kispert? You know what I mean? Like some of our.
Yeah, that was interesting. Corey Kispert, did he fall? Do you think or not really? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think Corey Kispert's going to be a good pro. I do
too.
I think he gets obviously he's a white guy who can shoot, so you kind of get put into a box for that.
Joe
reason,
Harris,
but, yeah, but he's very athletic. He's bigger than we've joked about that every time we've talked about the guy, that he kind of plays like he's 6'4" until he dunks all over people. And yeah, he's an NBA player and he's gonna be fine. I think he's gonna play in the NBA as long as he wants to.
Yeah. I mean,
I think like that's like when you're picked 15th, that's kind of what you're after, right? Like you're not looking for a guy that's gonna change the face of your franchise, even though the Wizards, I don't know, they just traded. I don't know what they're looking to do. Honestly,
yeah, well, I was going to say that I think he does change the face of your franchise, because when I think of the Wizards, or at least the past decade of the Wizards, you think about like basically Bradley Beal and John Wall. And I know John Wall is long gone at this point, but those are kind of the faces of your franchise. You think of like, doing the John Wall, you think of like Bradley Beal and John Wall kind of being this tough nosed backcourt. But now you're looking at the Wizards and you see a very Gonzaga international
I was gonna say,
team when you look at Rui, and now you had Corey Kispert, who obviously can balance that out. Bonga's on this team. I mean, Mo Wagner's on this team. I mean, they have. I like what Washington is doing, and it kind of is an image makeover. And taking Kispert in the lottery, taking him number 10, number 11, now you're reaching, in my opinion. That was like a little too high for me. But when you get him fresh out of the lottery, so he doesn't have those expectations, and I know it's literally at 15, but I love the 15th pick. And if you look at the 15th pick historically, you're talking about Kawhi Leonard, you're talking about Giannis Antetokounmpo. I mean, it is a good spot to be in. It's a very it is kind of the best player available outside of these lottery guys who are kind of picked on potential. So Corey Kispert to me is going into a good spot, and Rui's going to take care of him. I think the Wizards are playing for a new day. I think they're also going to get you see what happens. The Lakers and LeBron dump players. They go to their new homes and they make it a new home, like what Brandon Ingram and these guys have done in New Orleans. Josh Hart, of course, has probably made it more of a home. I think Brandon Ingram's asking for a trade now. But I like what the Wizards did there. And then 17th with the Pelicans, talking about the Pelicans, to get Trey Murphy. That is like DeAndre Hunter 2.0, I feel like, as far as being able to get a nice number 3, a wing defender, a guy who can shoot from 3, the literal 3 and D. And I was shocked when Trey Murphy went 17th, but then as I thought about it, I'm like, this guy is perfect, to go to New Orleans and actually be able to make an impact. So I thought those were good college basketball picks,
Yeah, it was a
15 and then Murphy at 17.
It was a great college basketball draft, Tate.
Yes.
I think this was great for college basketball. I think the all the guys that went high that played in college were made the Sweet 16, didn't they?
Pretty much.
Is that true?
I mean, Kai Jones.
Cade Cunningham did. Mobley was in the Elite 8. Scotty Barnes was in the Sweet 16. They lost to Michigan. Jalen Suggs loses in the title game, obviously. Wagner goes to the Elite 8. Davion Mitchell won the national championship.
Yep.
Zaire Williams, it all falls apart, but that's okay. Zaire Williams, I want to shout him out because he kind of was like I think 10's a little probably too high-ish. Maybe not. I guess maybe it feels right. I'm gonna talk myself into just saying it feels right because I think because in the broadcast I was watching, Billis was talking about how he thinks Zaire Williams is a good shooter.
I missed Billis, by the way. I wish I would have watched.
Yeah, you should have. You definitely watched the wrong one. That Zaire Williams is a good shooter. He just didn't necessarily show it this year. And I think like on the surface, that sounds absurd because it's like, if he's a good shooter, then why did he,
He is a good shooter. We've seen him in person.
Yeah, we've seen it in person.
We can verify that he is a good shooter.
Yeah. Yeah. But then at the same time, like people think John Dealer's a good shooter and he shot 29% his freshman year at Ohio State. So how do you reconcile those two things?
True.
You know what I mean?
True.
So these are that was kind of this idea was like Zaire Williams underperformed this year. And I just wanted to remind folks because people literally forget this. This is not shtick. I do think people forget this, Tate. That Stanford did not have a home court this year.
Yep.
That there was no power conference team that was more affected by COVID in terms of like their day-to-day operations than Stanford. And for a freshman who was already like, I don't know if risk is the right word, but like he's a guy that could have gone to Kentucky, Duke, Carolina, Kansas, whatever. Yeah. And he's like, I want to go to Stanford.
I thought he was going to Carolina. So
yeah,
Stanford.
And then he gets to Stanford and he has a knee injury out of the gate because what did he say happened?
He was riding his bike around campus. Like when he told us the story, we were both like, oh, that's so pure.
You're so pure. That's the only word for it. So he's got a knee injury out of the gate. Ted Valentine kills his confidence in Nashville, as we've talked about many times.
I remember.
And then he goes back to campus, but they don't go back to campus originally. They stay in North Carolina because they can't even literally fly back because like the state of California or like Santa Clara County was like, if you leave the county, do not come back. Do not come. Do not come back. And that was what they said. And so Stanford's like lost in the wilderness of North Carolina, and then they go back and they can't practice and they can't play in their arena and they're playing in Santa Cruz. So I just wanted to bring that up that like Zaire will, if you're watching his tape, if you're breaking down his stats and you're like, why is it like I don't think it's a fair shake. I don't know what's going to happen next with him. I do think he's a little passive. I think like. Yeah, I would love to see him have he's way too nice of a kid. Like we met him and talked to him for a little bit, and I saw enough to be like, you're way too nice. But I don't know. Then again, some guys can turn it on and be a killer on the court and be a nice guy off. But he's super talented. You thought he was going number one for a second, for like a half second. You talked yourself into. I don't mean like
last year. Yeah,
I don't mean. I was just gonna say I was gonna clarify. Like I don't mean going into the draft tonight. This was
no.
At the start of the season.
The start of the season, we watched him warm up, and this is we're in the building. Kai Jones is in the building, who ends up going 19. Greg Brown, who I don't even know if Greg Brown's
what the hell happened to Greg Brown?
What happened to Greg Brown? But as we watched Zaire Williams, I looked at you and I was like, I think we have a Pac-12 number one pick, and I was wrong because we did, but it wasn't Zaire Williams, it was Evan Mobley. So I apologize to our listeners at home. I got them confused, but I also got confirmation that the Hornets would have taken him at 11. So if the Grizzlies didn't take him at 10, he would have gone at 11. Which, I mean, so if you think it's a reach, teams are already ready to take him there. And if he goes in a situation with Ja and has like a Steven Adams to be an enforcer, if he can kind of just be on an island and not have the pressure, he could almost be like a Michael Porter Jr. situation, where he has zero pressure because he's the fourth option on this team.
Yeah.
And therefore he's the best fourth option in the NBA probably. And when we're talking about natural talent, so that could be a really good spot for him.
By the way, Greg Brown, 43rd to the Pelicans, but then they are trading that to the Blazers. So Greg Brown to the Blazers.
My God. Tell me when it's done.
We had a run in the second round. 38, Io goes to the Bulls, which, by the way, I felt like he obviously fell very far and should have been higher. So thank you, Cameron Krutwig, for tanking Io DeSumo's draft stock, you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Then Neemias Queta, who probably played for the G League Ignite team. Then, so throw that one out. But then at 40, we had Jared Butler, 41, Joe Wieskamp, 42, Isaiah Livers, 43, Greg Brown, 44 to the Nets, Kessler Edwards, Pepperdine guy.
Wow. So that is huge for college basketball. And that is kind of a sweet spot of the draft, being able to find a guy. And like Sam told us, you call Joe Wieskamp and you say, I got a two-way contract for you. Joe Wieskamp is signing that, I mean, he's excited about that. Greg Brown, I think, would be excited about that. So
yeah,
that's good. That's how you get your.
Anything else? Like, I guess we could just wrap it up. Do you want to? Should we do? I did this exercise. We watched 2 different broadcasts, so I wrote down like one thing I wanted to do because I remember doing this last year because we were laughing so hard about Bruce Pearl doing a side interview and saying character counts. That I asked you what you would put in the time capsule if you could pick one thing, one moment, one whatever of the 2021 draft. What was like the one thing that you think you'll remember when, if the 2021 draft was the blank draft, like, that was the draft when blank happened. What do you think is like the most memorable thing? But we watched 2 different broadcasts. I guess you could still answer it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, to put it in basketball terms, to frame it that way, I think it's Jalen Suggs. This is the Jalen Suggs draft. This is, we will remember that, we might not even remember Scotty Barnes went in front of Jalen Suggs, because I don't think it's going to be like Scotty Barnes has a disastrous type career. But I think if Jalen Suggs goes to Orlando and makes them a real contender, and they have like a real culture down there, and they have all these, long, talented wings, but then now they have kind of a general and they look really good, then we're all going to be like, man, I can't believe Jalen Suggs went 5th in this draft. That's insane. And so that to me is kind of like the watershed moment. The most shocking thing that happened to me was Josh Christopher going 24th. I was shocked by that. I really was. I did not expect it. Not anything about Josh Christopher, but one, it was good for Bobby. Bobby Hurley can hang
Bobby
back.
Hurley and Mike Krzyzewski both had guys drafted before Roy Williams.
Yes.
Before Roy Williams.
Yeah,
so.
You hate to see it. But did Coach K claim? Did he claim Jaylen Johnson? They did say Duke when he walked out, which I thought was like, are we sure he's Duke?
Coach K played this beautifully because he gets to blame Jaylen Johnson leaving on the reason Duke didn't make the tournament, but then also get to claim Jaylen Johnson as a first-round pick. Genius move by K.
Yes.
That's why he's the best to ever do it.
And also the Hawks are hilarious because they were basically like, we can't sign Cam Reddish, so we're just going to get another Duke forward with the just slot him. We'll see if he works.
See if anyone notices. I would say that's a good answer, Jalen Suggs. I would say for me, it's definitely Kendrick Perkins trying to.
I mean,
that was so good, dude. You got to find the clip.
Watch it. I almost want to rewatch it.
Have you seen it? Have you seen the clip? So
no.
The clip? Oh, you got to find.
I just saw someone put like his face, like while he was struggling through it. The screen.
It's so good. Winners, losers. Who are your winners? How about that? You already said the teams. You already said your winners.
Yeah. I would say my biggest loser is Spike Lee. I think that's like the only thing I need to say. Spike Lee being there, watching Kai Jones get selected by the Knicks, him celebrating that, and then realizing that is going to the Hornets. Winner Michael Jordan, as always. The guy's been killing it in the NBA draft recently. Mitch Kupchak also. Mitch Kupchak, I apologize for bothering you all these days saying that you should draft Day'Ron Sharpe. You should draft Day'Ron Sharpe. Because he knew what he was going to do. He's going to take Kai Jones because he listens to the podcast. So he knew what I really wanted. The text, that was all a sideshow. We got our guy. And I think another winner, Jaylen Johnson. How the hell was he a first round pick? If this was 2015 and a guy opted out of his team, like playing at Duke, there's no way he's a first round pick, but that's where we are now.
This isn't your father's NBA draft because
I don't even think this is my brother's NBA draft.
Yeah. My winners include Mike Schmitz, who he did the draft last year, but they did it in Bristol, so he didn't get to be on the big boy set with the fans and
he does a great job.
He really does a great job. Yeah.
He kind of orchestrates things. He puts it in a nice perspective. And for whatever reason, when Schmitz does his shades of, I don't get as annoyed. Like when anyone else does comps, like even KOC, I love him to death. I'm just like, I don't need comp. I hate comps.
At one point, Schmitz said, I forget the player. He said someone reminds him of a young Boris Diaw before Boris Diaw fell in love with wine and cheese.
Pretty good.
He's like, remember when Boris Diaw could jump? And then like Kendrick Perkins was like, could he? I don't remember.
Yeah, he's like, who?
And Billis was like, what school did Boris Diaw go to? I don't know who that is.
You Baylor kids?
So I'd say Mike Schmitz, big winner. Coach K obviously has to be a big winner. Had a guy drafted before Roy Williams. Never forget. Also a guy that gets to claim Jaylen Johnson. I put the SEC down as a big winner. 6 different schools had first rounders, Tate. Yeah. And that doesn't include Davion Mitchell, who transferred from Auburn. It doesn't include Kai Jones, who went to Texas.
Wow.
It doesn't include.
I didn't even think about that.
It doesn't include Scotty Barnes, who went to Florida State, who's probably going to be an SEC school very soon. Or
doesn't include Day'Ron Sharp, baby. Let's go. SEC.
So we're gonna look at the G League Ignite team. It's going to be in the SEC soon enough.
That would be great.
Montverde Academy, also big winner,
Ooh,
getting a lot of love. But then also Montverde was also a loser because this is another thing you missed was Billis was he would not let this go. That every time Reese brought up Montverde Academy, Jay Billis wanted to make it clear that Montverde is not a high school. It is a prep school. There's a difference. These guys did not grow up together. They are not from the same neighborhood.
No, he's right though. That's a great.
I know, but it was just like it was a classic Billis moment where he was like, "It's for like it's like we get it, Jay." And he's like, "No. I'm gonna explain something to you." And we're like, "Jay."
It is funny because I did have someone text me. I was like, "Can you imagine that town with all those kids growing up together?"
Oh, really? Well, maybe
like,
Jay needed to do it then.
I was like, "Well, they got there when they were 16 or 17." I think they were
Jay was no. I'm not gonna get on Jay about it because I think it's a good thing. I think he's preserving the values of small town America of how things used to be, where it's like if you're born, and I wasn't born in Brownsburg, but I grew up in Brownsburg, Indiana, Tate. I went to Brownsburg Junior High School. I went to Brownsburg High School. And that's like how, that's kind of how it's supposed to work according to people of a certain ilk. You don't go to prep schools. You don't go to, you don't transfer. You don't go to privates. We don't do that. We don't do that. And Jay's cut from the same cloth as me. But
all the North Carolina talent about 20, 30 years, maybe I'll say 30 years ago, they all were like, wait a second, I can go to Oak Hill. And then, and then you started looking up and you were like, I thought that kid was from Virginia. And they're like, no, he's from small town North Carolina. He just was like, I need to go to prep school. I need to go to Hargrave Military Academy.
What high school did Billis go to, by the way? I know he's from LA. He went to
Harvard Westside.
He went to Sierra Canyon. Rolling Hills, and Rolling Hills Estates, California. So it checks out. There you go. Jay went to a high school that was named after the town, so he's probably got maybe that's what it is about.
He's got real ties.
He's got ties to the community. Losers include for me Barclays Center. Horrible look. You got to move the draft back to Madison Square Garden. Brian Shaw, head coach of the G League Ignite, could not even get to the Final Four of the G League. I don't know. Did he? The G League Ignite could have won their playoffs. I wouldn't even know.
I think they lost in the first round, but I don't fact check me.
I looked up their record today. That's all the research I did. They were 8-7. I don't know. They could have gone on a miracle run and won the G League, and I don't even know it. And I'm clowning them.
I mean, Isaiah Todd going 31 is pretty good for the Ignite team. You know what I mean? Because I saw a lot of people saying that Isaiah Todd probably won't get drafted. Yada yada yada. I don't know if Deshaun Nix did get drafted, who was the UCLA commit, but he was
right.
Guy that should be there.
That's right. Corey Kisper's suit, I would say. That was a big swing and a miss. I would say NATO.
I think he did that for his girlfriend.
Probably. I think Nate Oates is a big loser. I think he thinks he's a winner because he had a guy get drafted 12th, but I think Joshua Primo is in the territory where if it works out well and Primo's a star for the Spurs, then it's. Yeah, I was gonna go the other way. If Primo is bad, then Nate Oates has to wear that, and it's like you can't produce a good pro. If he's a star, Tate, then it's a problem because it's a Devin Booker situation, is what I was gonna say. Why did he not play more? How did this guy only average 8 points a game for you? What were you doing?
And it kind of goes back and forth. It's like a seesaw between those two opinions. I will say I did learn that Josh Primo, his mother had passed away when he was. This is what the ABC broadcast told me. His mother passed away when he was 10, and January 12th is her birthday. So this year in the SEC, he played on January 12th. And he had exactly 12 points in a win, and he did that purposefully. He said that he went to the game, and he was like, I will only score 12 points. And they showed, like, he had open shots, and he, like, gave it up because he was like, I will only score 12 points. And then he goes number 12 in the draft. So it was kind of like,
wow. How about that?
Moment, yeah.
How about that?
Youngest player in the draft. Yeah.
All right, I think that's it.
Kevin Nagandi for all that.
For that Kevin Nagandi. Do you think Kevin Nagandi does that in his private life too? He just like walks around and just like tells people like random titty. Because I think about it, like he was doing I guess it wasn't trauma, but he was doing the same thing with the spelling bee where he's like, and this guy knows how to play the accordion. And you're like, thanks, Kevin. And he just got the tidbits ready. Do you think he does that in his private life where he just points out things about his friends? Or he's like, I want you to meet my friend Jim. So One thing you should know about Jim is in his spare time, he is a balloon artist who will tie balloons for you.
Yeah, I mean, I love that. I will say, you mentioned the baseball thing earlier. I saw Quentin Grimes. One last thing, he had that he played the piano as one of his little tidbits. I think if you have that, you should have to play the piano, or at least have a clip of you playing the piano.
Right.
That's
right.
one last thing. But that's just one loser comment there. But I'm happy for Quentin Grimes. I thought that was a great pick. I wanted to go to the Sixers later on, but.
And I need a guy who plays the piano to critique whether you're actually good at playing the piano. Yes. Joey Harrington, I remember when he was getting drafted, same deal. Was like Joey Harrington in 03 knows how to play the piano, and I was like,
does he?
Does he? Can we get a? Can we get a? You know?
Yeah. Can we get a sound check?
Sound check.
Take a seat, Joe.
Joey, go ahead. Play the piano when you're ready. Whenever you're ready, just play something good. Play Freebird. Go
Strictly
ahead.
80s Joel, please. And then go ahead and
go. Shout outs, closeouts. Anything else before we go?
Man, I just want to shout out the fact that, ABC took over this NBA draft experience, and it was totally different than any experience I've ever seen. It felt like I was watching, how you were in the serververse of Space Jam 2? I felt like I was in ABC/Disney serververse while they did the NBA draft, and that was very hilarious. And thank you to all the actors who chimed in throughout the broadcast.
We need to convince Fox to do counter programming where we do the haters coverage of.
Oh yeah, hate. Yeah.
We're just
because
ABC and ESPN, they're too nice and they're scared to say this is a horrible.
I'll be bug nasty. I have no problem. I would have literally fallen out of my chair when Josh Giddey got picked. I would have feel in the back of my head exploded when Josh Giddey gets picked.
Does Josh Giddey pass the? I don't have a name for it, but the test. I got to pick a small town. Maybe Terre Haute, Indiana. How about that? The Terre Haute test. Does he pass the Terre Haute test where if he's not from Australia and he's just a guy from Terre Haute, Indiana named Josh Giddey?
Yeah.
Is he taking 6th overall?
No, he's taking 41st. He's taking 41st to the Spurs. And he's Joe Wieskamp. Joe Wieskamp could have gone 6th in this draft.
If Joe Wieskamp was Jose Wieskamp from Spain.
Yes. If he's from the Dominican Republic, he would go 5th. Oh man, I'm so happy he got drafted though. I am too, man. We were gonna.
I told you, if I'm a GM, I'm getting fired over Joe Wieskamp. I was just like, I wasn't. I'm not taking it. I might have taken
Buford right now is like, yes.
I think I'm taking him. If I have, I'm 25 to 30. If I have a pick in there, I was taking Joe Wieskamp, and I was just swinging for the fences. And I was like, I honestly, if I get fired, I'll go down with the ship. I don't care. It doesn't matter.
If I was the Utah Jazz, I would have literally walked out there. I would have made them play a highlight of all the threes I made this year, an NBA record, and then I would have picked Joe Wieskamp. And I would say, and then I would have had the moment where like, we're not done yet. You know what I mean? Like we're coming back and we're shooting more threes. And guess what? We're guarding nobody.
Yeah, and then everyone's like, that doesn't solve your problem that you had against the Clippers where you couldn't stop them. And you're like, no, it doesn't matter.
More threes.
More. You have to make shots, and we're gonna make shots.
Meanwhile, we just learned that does not win championships, but more.
I want to shout out Bob Bowlesby, who is the commissioner of the Big 12 and is in a sticky
situation. Putting on a brave face.
I want to give him a shout out solely for his signature, which is making the rounds this week as one of the most absurd signatures I've ever seen. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go look it up. He just basically I can't even describe it. How would you describe it? Just a bunch of cursive T's. It looks like a bunch. Did you see it?
No, but it sounds kind of like Trump's.
Yeah. It is Trump-like. Let me look up Trump's now. Donald Trump's signature here. Look up the signature. It's preposterous. I don't know if it's easy to do. It is similar to Trump's, where it's just like, let me just flick my wrist like up and down a bunch, and then he like just crosses all the T's.
It's like he never learned how to use cursive. But he's like just seen it on paper. So he's like, okay, just go up and down, and then cross here, and then get out of here.
So I want to shout him out for that moment of levity as your conference is imploding. That was nice.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, talk about the fleece of the century. The American Conference is sitting over here, and now they're going to be the power conference. Like, what a move! Like, East Carolina is now in a power conference, and the Big 12 could have easily just taken the Texas schools and kept the Big 12 alive.
Tulane is in a better situation than Kansas. Would you rather be the head coach of Tulane or Kansas right now? Because Kansas not in a power conference. Tulane, it is.
Kansas and the American is going to be fun, though. I think we officially made the American great again. Congratulations.
Maybe that's why he signs his papers. Final shout out to Floyd Mayweather and the money team for an 18-point come from behind victory in the basketball tournament against a team called Carmen's Crew.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. Did you see this? Did you hear about
this? I didn't
this?
see this. I did not.
The Ohio State alumni team was up by 18 at home. At home, played. I think it was played on Ohio State's campus at the new little facility they built on campus. And if
not at the shot though.
Not at the shot, but it was certainly, if it wasn't on campus, it was in Columbus. They're up 18 in the second half, and they blow it, and they lose, and they're out of the tournament. And John Diebler is officially retired. He's officially. I called him for comment. He said, "I said, John, is this like I feel like you've retired more than Vince Carter at this point."
Yeah. How many times? How many farewells?
Retired?
Yeah.
He said, "I'm officially done. 3 duns. It's over."
Nice.
Ding dong. Oh, so like, if I can get a contract somewhere, Tate, like it's some sort of semi-pro contract, I win. My career would outlast John. So I
don't know if the Wilmington Sea Dogs still exist. They are a semi-pro team in Wilmington, North Carolina, and I can make that phone call for you.
If I can
get you to the Sea Dogs.
If I can outlast Greg Oden's professional career and John Diebler's professional career,
then who really is the winner?
Who's the winner?
Yeah. Yes, you tell me.
This is how I win. Is that it?
I think that's it.
All right,
we covered it all.
Congratulations to the NBA, Adam Silver. You've done it again. You've put on a great draft. That's why you're the best commissioner in sports. And thank you for all that you do for all of us. What a night it was. Is it over yet? Should we refresh it one more time? Just get a final check here.
Yeah, who's the last pick?
Marcus Zagorowski got drafted. Luka Garza to the Pistons. How about that?
Wow. He's getting traded. They're trading.
Luka Garza and Cade Cunningham.
That's pretty good for college basketball.
Dude, that's great for college basketball. Luka Garza and Cade Cunningham on the
same I mean, you have to draft Garza, by the way. I mean, there's no way that guy comes in for a workout and you leave and you're like, that guy does not deserve to get drafted in the NBA. Now we'll see what happens. I think he can find a spot. The bigs are back, so good for him.
We love it.
And Zagorowski, which is Sam said he was going to get drafted.
Zagorowski, yeah. Oh, Mama Kulishvili goes to the Pacers. Oh, he's traded to the Bucks. Never mind.
The last name that I think that should get drafted that I haven't heard yet is Petrusev.
Oh yeah,
I that seems to me like a guy when we're talking about Jokic.
No, he went to the Sixers, number 50. Boom, right there.
Oh, he got drafted?
Yeah, I see it right in front of me. Boom.
Well, see, I didn't even know that.
Who's left? Who's left on your big board now? Dwayne Washington.
I just saw Balsa Koprivica just got drafted from Florida State. That's a name that I had also on my board. As I look at the Jokic generation of bigs and the Sabonis generation of bigs, I'm just like, get the Eastern European bigs in here and let them pass around and see if it works. So Petrusev, I like it.
You should. If I hear, here's a hot take. If you play less than 3 minutes a game, you should get thrown back into the draft pool. You can be redrafted.
I'm in.
What a stupid idea. Why would I end the show saying that? Let's just leave. It. Why would I say that?
No, throw them back in the pool. You tested the waters and now you have to swim. Good luck.
See you guys next week.